before we head for a short break, all right, and for tasting. All right, so touching on white Bordeaux. All right, so once again, as we can see, I shared earlier, Bordeaux white wines especially, although it's still relatively low in terms of production and sales, but that's not because it's not popular, as Malcolm says, because the reds are doing really well. All right, so generally dry white wines of Bordeaux represent about 8.8%, and it encompasses 14 appellations throughout Bordeaux, just a little under 10,000 hectares in production, and of course about half a million hectoliters produced in 2015, right, total 4 million bottles, which is relatively small in contrast to the reds. All right, so once again, choice of terroir. All right, generally, as we all know, the pocket-friendly, cheap and cheerful, easily accessible wines are mainly from the Entre-Deux-Mers appellation, and of course those who are looking for long-lived, more structured, more complex, more layered Bordeaux Blancs will be looking towards the appellation of Grave or Pessac-Léognan in general. All right, so of course potential of influence, how recent innovations have influenced the increase in quality of Bordeaux dry wines. Right, so once again, the understanding of alcoholic fermentation, the choice of yeast strain, fermentation temperature, nutrients available for yeast, and quantity of oxygen. So these are all recent studies that have been expounded upon, especially by, as I shared, by Mr. Dennis Duverlieu. All right, of course, he was integral, all right, and instrumental in leading the improvement of quality of Bordeaux Blancs in general. All right, so reaching full aromatic potential. So we'll be having an interesting array of Bordeaux Blancs to taste in our session later, and we will discover together how, we can see the quality of dry whites really evolving and improving in Bordeaux, especially of late. And of course, the understanding of different usage of wet types, barrels, stainless steel, oak or cement, and how this nuances, or how this different employment of different fermenting or storage or aging receptacles affect the aromatic flavors and structure of Bordeaux Blancs. All right, so once again, just illustration of white wine vinification practices, all right, in terms of lees, stirring, etc. And of course, the constant argument or debate on the aesthetics of Bordeaux wine packaging. All right, so as we can see, I'm sure some of us have seen Bordeaux wines in screw caps. All right, especially the more approachable, the more mainstream retail ones. All right, so it's not that the Bordeaux fraternity or producers do not wish to use screw caps. Many of the winemakers or the producers that we spoke to, they are dying to use screw caps. All right, they feel this is a better closure, all right, for white wines especially, and for early drinking whites or reds, which form, all right, 3/4 or the bulk of Bordeaux wines. As we all know, Bordeaux is not just about Grand Cru Classés, classified groves, all right. It's also about wines that are young and accessible, and most importantly, friendly on the pocket. All right, these wines really show well if they're being closed with a screw cap closure, as being shared by most of the producers. So once again, they want to use it, but it is the consumers that are resistant to it. All right, so hence we see still a lot of cork closures or synthetic cork closures being used for everyday drinking Bordeaux wines. All right, which sometimes might not be suitable. Of course, cork technology has improved through the years, right? But because of cost, all right, so we can see a lot of entry-level Bordeaux wines, every drinking ones, they come in agglomerated cork or synthetic corks, which are not really ideal, so to speak, in terms of enclosure, because there is a higher variable of problems with the closure in contrast to stainless steel screw cap in general. All right, and of course, once again, just a run through on the influence of factors involved in winemaking: maceration, pressing, or avoiding the oxidation of malt. So these are more vinification practices, just for everybody's general reference, all right, if you want them. Of course, you feel free to take a picture snapshot. I believe Malcolm and myself, we have a edited version of this presentation for general reference if you wish. All right, so you can pass us your contact cards, and of course Malcolm will be more than glad to share some of this technical information with you in for your personal reference, or sharing with your colleagues. And of course, once again, more illustration slides in terms of zooming in on factors that influence alcoholic fermentation. I think this was a slide that was shown earlier. Pardon for the repeat. All right, once again, the identification of different types of yeast strains and the control of the quantity of oxygen during the process of fermentation. The innovation in this vinification aspect has really contributed leaps and bounds to the quality of Bordeaux white wines in general.